Hello Ramen Nation, Chris Cobain here bringing you video number 1 of week 8 of the National Pokemon Association. Last week, week 7, we took on Dan and the New York Metapods A-Drive, and we were able to eke out a 2-0 victory in what was the closest match of my season, that I won anyway. And we were able to pull out a very good victory, a very big momentous win for the team, and one that will hopefully carry us all the way into the playoffs. But the first step to that starts right now as we take on the TheChoiceSpecs and the Boston Celebis. The team was actually originally coached by a guy named Sonic Brawler. Due to personal reasons, unfortunately, he had to drop out. And TheChoiceSpecs does take his spot, just adopting his record, his team, all that fun stuff. So, nothing out of the ordinary there, just a different coach than what I was going to face. But that's okay, no big deal to me. But this, of course, is the team builder. We're going to go and run down my opponent's 11 Pokemon right below me, and then we're going to take a look at my team and why I'm running it. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. First off, on his team, we have Azumarill. Azumarill is a really good Pokemon, of course. It can do a lot of things really well. It can be a choice banded Pokemon pretty easily. It can be a Citrus Berry, a Belly Drum set, of course, always a terror. Could be AV potentially. Could be Life Orb. It can run a multitude of things. You got Aqua Jet, Waterfall, Play Rough, Knockoff, Superpower, Ice Punch. So a lot of things that could potentially be a problem to my team. 100% expected to come because it's very diverse and can do work against me. Next up, we've got Breloom, the second of 3 Pokemon that you're going to see his team kind of hinges around. This one I'm not 100% on bringing, though, for one reason. That's Celebi. Breloom, though, is a very good Pokemon. It has access to Spore, of course, Technician, Mach Punch, Bullet Seed, all that fun stuff. I don't know if I fully expect it this week because we do have Celebi, resistant to both stabs, immune to Spore, of course. Overall, just shuts him down completely, but he could bring it. Blastoise, the non-Mega variant, can be a good Pokemon, can be hazard removal, is pretty bulky, has access to all the things that Megastoise does, including Dark Pulse and Aura Sphere and all that stuff. Not nearly as powerful, but can do it. But is very bulky still, can have access to leftovers, can be a Scald spammer, that kind of stuff. Golbat, Eviolite, you know, basically it's Crobat, except it's Eviolated, a little more bulky and slower. Brave Bird, U-Turn, Roost, Super Fang, Toxic, Defog, stuff like that. Can be fully physically or fully specially defensive. It can be a very helpful against me if it can fire off some Super Fangs on some of my more bulkier Pokemon, such as like a Celebi, a Jirachi, a Garchomp, stuff like that, and really take them down because none of those, to my knowledge, can one-hit it. So that could be a big deal. Dusknoir, a very diverse Pokemon. I believe it's PU. I don't really understand why. It's very bulky, very powerful, and has a huge array of moves that it can learn. All the elemental punches. I think it gets Gunk Shot. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Of course, Shadow Sneak and Shadow Punch, stuff like that. Could be a threat to my team. I have ways to handle it, but it is there. It's Earthquake as well, I believe. Linoon, however you want to say it. Belly Drum and some more Belly Drum. That's all this thing really does. But that said, it could be a decent threat against my team if it gets rid of the right threats first. That would probably, for him anyway, include weakening Jirachi, and probably removing, if I carry Rotom, removing Rotom from the field. Completely. Otherwise, he can just sit there and just bot me with E-Speed. We do have ways to beat that. Physically defensive, like Celebi can handle that. Gyarados defensively can handle a little bit. The third Pokemon that his team really hinges around, another one I 100% expect, no question about it, is going to be Mega Lopunny. Mega Lopunny, 135 base speed, really high attack, has access, gets scrappy, so I can't wall it with Rotom. Fake Out, Return, High Jump Kick, Drain Punch, Substitute, it carries a lot. Power Up Punch, the Elemental Punches. So Ice Punch is a thing as well. Definitely would carry that if he brings it. Very scary Pokemon. Again, I have ways to handle it for sure, but it definitely could be a threat. Moving on past that, we have Electros, another Pokemon I 100% expect him to bring at this point. Lots of coverage on this. Stuff like Giga Drain, Flamethrower, Knockoff, of course, electric attacks. Like its superpower, I believe. It can run Hidden Power Ice, of course, which is, if it's bringing it, definitely an option for him. And is immune to that ground, so I can't Earthquake it. Does make a great, or can make a decent Garchomp switch in. So that could be scary. Shedinja, all-around nuisance. Obviously, we know about that. Wonder Guard can only be able to super effective attacks, that 1 HP thing. It is beaten by any manner of hazards, and my team carries quite a lot of rockers. That could very well potentially keep him from deciding to want that at all. But there's always a chance that he thinks it can be annoying enough to do things. It can Willow. You know, it can set up Swords Dance and X Scissors. It's a very good answer to most Celebis. As long as they're not carrying something out of the ordinary, like Hidden Power. Mawile, non-Mega variant. Not a great Pokemon, honestly. Sheer Force, Life Orb, it can be banded. You know, typical things a Mega Mawile does, just much less power. Iron Head, Play Rough, Knock Off, it learns the Fangs, and stuff like that. So, could be a thing. Honestly, it gets Swords Dance as well. Maybe, possibly, but it is fairly frail, it's fairly weak, and I can definitely handle it if he brings it. And last but not least, we have Kabutops, a Pokemon near and dear to my own heart, as it's run on my OU Rain team, and does very well there. Unfortunately, unless he basically sets his own Rain, or sets it with Blastoise, it's not going to have that Swift Swim, not going to be very fast. Easy ways to wall it for me, but it gets Waterfall, Aqua Jet, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Knock Off, Swords Dance, Rapid Spin, actually. Earthquake, Superpower, I think, or Low Kick for sure, because I run that. But, again, another one of those Pokemon that could come. Don't fully expect it, but we've been proven wrong in the past. I've almost every week been like, nah, it's not coming. And it's like, oh, there it is. Okay, so, as always, my team revolves around being able to stop all 11, not just any particular 6, because that's the best way to do it. If you prepare for 6 you think are coming, they don't come, you could end up getting destroyed. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at my teams for this week, my 6, and why I'm running him. And this is not my team, by the way. The only time I have not run him is week 1, and that may just be something that lasts till the very end, because he does well every week, it seems. And that's my boy, MVP, or one of the MVPs of the team so far. That's going to be Garchomp. And this one is, it's pretty normal, honestly. It's going to be Adamant, Rough Skin, Yachi Berry. Adamant is what you want to pay attention to there. And it's going to have Earthquake, Swords Dance, Stealth Rock, and Dragon Claw. So his team, outside of the Lopunny, is honestly not all that fast. Linoon's base 100, Lopunny's base 135. Outside of that, I think the next fastest Pokemon he has is actually Kabutops at base 80. So his team is fairly slow. So I really don't need to worry about speed in this match too much, as you're going to see, because Lopunny was speed me anyway. So we are running Adamant. We're running 156 HP, 252 attack. He's going to hit very hard, and he's going to have 100 base speed. At Adamant with 100, that's going to allow him to barely outspeed max speed Breloom. Now, it does not account for Kabutops at base 80, but we do not fear Kabutops in any way, shape, or form. You will see that. See why in just a second. It's also running a Yachi Bear for things like Ice Punch Lopunny. Like I said before, Hidden Power Ice Electros is a thing. Potential Ice Punch from Azumarill or Ice Beam from Blastoise. All those very viable for him. I think Dusknoir also gets Ice Punch, so this will allow him to take almost any hit from any Pokemon and be able to fire back with an Adamant 2v2 attack, Earthquake, or Dragon Claw. I can set up Swords Dance against a lot of things, including that Electros. He won't see that coming. I can probably set up against that Breloom outside of Spore. I can do it. I can lock my, or I can Swords Dance against maybe a choice locked Dusknoir or something of that effect, and just overall just sit there and deal a bunch of damage. So expect this thing to do some work, as per usual. It always does. Looking forward to using him. Second up, and the reason we do not fear Kabutops in any way, shape, or form, and the potential MVP of this week, the one that I predict the MVP, we have not run him in quite a few weeks. I think the last time we saw him was actually like week 3 or something like that against Elliott, where he dominated, and I expect him to do so again. Please, after so many weeks, please welcome back the Onion Fairy, Celebi. I love this thing. When I drafted it, I was pretty much criticized, honestly, for drafting this because everyone just thought it was such a weak Pokemon. And so far, this thing has proved everything wrong. It has not been run too much yet, but it has not died, and it always puts in work, and you will expect the finest of work coming through this week. The 3 main Pokemon I said his team is based around will be Azu, Breloom, Electros. They can do nothing. Breloom completely worthless. Lopunny's best attack is a return / ice punch. At maximum roll, it does like 30%. So, just taking a look at him real quick. We are bold and natural focus and leftovers. We are a max HP 252 HP and defense with 4 special attack mixed in there as well. This thing can completely decimate his entire team. Can't lose the Azu unless it belly drums then knockoffs. It is faster than even max speed Azumarill, so that's not a threat. So even if it sets up belly drum, if I've chipped it, it has to Aqua Jet. That +6 Aqua Jet does like 35. Breloom, absolutely worthless. Stoice, worthless. Even Ice Beam won't do anything. Golbat can U-turn. Super Fang, that's about it. Dusknoir would have to be banded and would also have to be running Shadow Punch, and even that wouldn't do too much. Linoon has to set up Belly Drum. Even +6 Shadow Claw does not kill. Seriously. Lopunny, return an Ice Punch, do about 36% maximum roll. Electros can be annoying. Shadenja's not a threat because of the hidden power, as you're going to see. Mawile is not strong enough. Kabutop's not strong enough. This thing just runs through his whole team. I could sweep with it, honestly. Like I said, though, bold natural kill leftovers, 252, 1 HP in defense. He's got Giga, Recover, Hidden Power, Fire, and Psychic. Pretty basic set. Can beat everything, honestly. It can live the only Pokemon that kind of even partially makes me worry, at even a little bit. Well, actually, two is Electros, who can be Assault Vest and take my hits, and Shadenja, who could be Focus Sash and hit X Scissor, and that almost Okos. So, there's that. But this thing can run through his entire team easily, definitely, I'm very happy to be running it again. We haven't run it in quite a while. It's always a Pokemon I look at going into team building, going, man, I wish we could fit this on the team, and just, the last few weeks or whatever, we just didn't have room for it. And that's okay, it happens, but this week, we had to bring him easily, and I'm happy to have him here, and hopefully, my boy can do a ton of work here. So jumping on to the next one, we are running Fire! We have not run a Fire set since, Boom Burst Exploud with Sleep Talk, Choice Specs against Elliott week 3. But ever since then, our sets are pretty easy. We run like the berries here and there that are a little off kilter and stuff like that, but we have not run this kind of set since the Exploud. I don't think it's quite as crazy as the Exploud, but it's still crazy, and I would love to make this thing do work. And that thing is Slow King, and it's got Trick Room. I really want to make this work. So we're going to be Quiet, which is plus special attack minus speed, regen of course, and Life Orb. He's going to be 248 HP, 252 special defense, or special attack, excuse me, and 8 special defense running Scald, Trick Room, Flamethrower, and Psychic. I would love to. If I can set up Trick Room, it can beat a weakened Azu, it can beat Breloom, it can beat Golbat, it can beat Dusknoir mostly, it can beat Linoon, it can beat Lopunny easily, it can beat Shadenja, it can beat Mawile, it can beat Kabutops. The only thing is that we don't have recovery and we're not super bulky, just the HP, but we can set up, we should be able to set up against the Lopunny. I think return does a little over 50%. We can certainly set up against the Golbat as well, potentially. We can potentially set up against the Azumarill as well, assuming it doesn't have knockoff. We would not like to take that, of course. I would love it. I don't know how much, it will be somewhat difficult, honestly, to set up the Trick Room, but if I can, and we have the right threats weakened, like the Azu, potentially like the Dusknoir, or like the Blastoise or something who can learn Dark Pulse, we could run through his team with this. I would love it. Love it. I don't promise anything, but I'm going to try. I promise I'm going to try. So moving into the 4th Pokemon slot today, we're going to continue with the Water type, and of course the only water type of my team is just revealed. It's going to be Gyarados. Now, poor Gyarados here. Can't catch a break. He just can't. I think his total kills to death ratio, I think he's got 2 kills and like 3 deaths. And that is not at all a statement about how poorly he's played. It's honestly a statement about the fact that he's made a good like a Sackmon a lot of times so I can get Intimidate off and do some chip damage. He's done that almost every time he's died. And otherwise, he just hasn't gotten the chance to get going. There's been, what is it, week 8? We're including this match. Almost, I think I've run him like 5 times. Probably 4 of those, including this one. He's had the complete potential to sweep the opposing team with ease, if he got a chance to. This is another one of those weeks, but all the other weeks he just hasn't got a chance to get going. We've done enough work with everything else where he didn't get anything here, and that could happen again, potentially, but we're going to go ahead and run him because he's just been so good against opposing teams, and he's always, if nothing else, a fantastic backup strat. So he's going to be Jolly, Intimidate because Moxie's worthless for us, and Leftovers. He's 60 HP, 252 attack, and 196 speed, which allows it to outspeed max speed male low punny after one Dragon Dance. And also still outspeeds Breloom. Waterfall, Dragon Dance, Substitute, Bounce. Pretty easy set. I can set up sub against things like Dusk Noir, against things like Shedinja, of course, against something like Breloom if it goes for Spore. I can set up against Blastoise, who isn't running anything out of the ordinary. And it can just go ham. Bounce +1 is going to do a massive amount to Osmeril, kill Breloom, beat Stoice, beat Bat, beat Dusk Noir. Literally, I can just do the whole team. It beats it. So if I get up one Dragon Dance, and again, we have a little bit of chip damage here and there, and sometimes, in some fashions, not even chip damage, I can just sit there and sweep his entire team pretty easily. So, again, we have enough on the team. This guy was literally the last Pokemon we put on the team because we just needed one more Pokemon. We literally had 5, and the first 5 we felt can win this batch for us, no problem. But of course, we need that last, the 1/6, and I just said, hey, if we get a sub bounce Waterfall D-Dance Gyarados can sweep his team, and okay, why not, right? Intimidate support for low punning for Azu too, maybe, who knows? Maybe he gets used, we'll see. But he could do work. He definitely can do work in this match. Moving on to the 5th slot, we've seemed to run this thing every single week, and it continuously puts in work, and then more work, and then more work. And he's been the low-key MVP of the team this year. Obviously, like the Garchomps and the Jirachis and stuff have been big, but this thing has been huge. And it's going to be Drapion. Name is misspelled, unfortunately. Oh well. But again, this thing has full-on potential to do a lot of work against this guy's team. Just like Garchomp, we are running the Adamant set with Battle Armor because who needs Sniper, and Lumberry so we can take things like Willow or Spore. From the Breloom, of course, it's going to be 100 HP, 252 attack, and 156 speed, excuse me, which allows it to outspeed yet again max speed Breloom. Just because Kabutops, I just don't care. And I would like to be able to stay in and take a Spore and just kill him with a Poison Jab, honestly. That'd be beautiful for me. Because he won't view this as much of a threat to Breloom as Celebi obviously will be to him. So if I go into Celebi, like forces a switch, this he would stay in on. So pretty simple though. We got Knockoff, Earthquake, Pursuit, and Poison Jab. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Can definitely put in some work. It can beat the Breloom pretty easily, as well as the Azumarill. It can knock off spam. The Golbat doesn't like it. I can Pursuit Trap Dusk Noir. I can beat the Linoon. Low Punny can obviously be a threat, but we have ways to handle that. Massive, important chip damage to something like Electros. Takes a Willow from Shedinja, kills with 2 knockoffs, or a Pursuit, and in fact, Pursuit would be my play. Can beat the Mawile with Earthquake, can beat the Kabutops with Earthquake. Pretty simple. Pretty simple here, nothing crazy. I don't know how much work he will do. He definitely got the potential to. But look for him maybe to like kill a Breloom if it's there. Maybe typically here, not 100% looking to pick up kills outside like the Shedinja here. This thing's mainly going to be for a lot of chip damage on things like the Stoice. And the Electros, and things like that, so that we can clean up with other things like Chomp or Celebi potentially, or Gyarados, or whoever have you. So, and last but not least, here moving on to the 6th Pokemon. We've only run him one time. He picked up 1 kill and then died. I think that was in week 2. And we just haven't had a bunch of opportunity to run him, but I'm happy to run him this week. Unfortunately, this week he will be run almost definitely he'll be run as a sack. And that Pokemon is going to be Raigeki, the Rotom. Now, he's going to be Timid, Levitate, of course, because he can't be anything else, and Choice Scarfed. He's Timid, Choice Scarf, so that he can always outspeed Linoon. He's meant as a Linoon counter, just in case something happens, he gets up Belly Drum. He can't E-speed me, and I will outspeed his Shadow Claw attempt and potentially be able to Willow, or trick him and lock him into like Shadow Claw so we can beat him with anything else, so he can't E-speed me anymore, stuff like that. what was I saying here? So this thing sets pretty easy. It's going to be Shadow Ball, Willow, Trick, and Volt Switch. Now, the main reason I tell you that this thing is fodder, if Linoon does not come or I get any damage on him, this thing is going to die. I can almost guarantee it to Lopunny. And the reason I say that is because Lopunny has Scrappy and will hit me very hard with like a high jump kick. However, Lopunny can be such a nuisance to my team, including if it's running like a power-up punch set, that if I get the opportunity, I will Will-O-Wisp it and die. That will be my plan. He will be my lead because he does have absolutely no immunity to electric, literally none. So I'm Scarf Volt Switch, I outspeed his entire team, so this will be my lead. Lopunny is a fantastic lead thanks to Fake Out, plus he'll probably want to get a Mega going pretty quickly so he's got that speed. And he's not like slower than a potential Diancie. Who I'm not running, of course, but if that's what happens, it could very well be a thing. I will lead with Rotom. No matter who his team is, I will be leading with Rotom. Actually, he does have electric immunity. I apologize. It's Shedinja, but he dies to Will-O-Wisp. Excuse me on that one. But it's very definite, or not definite, but it's a possibility that it's a Rotom versus Lopunny lead. He will Fake Out turn 1 because of Scrappy. And then I will Will-O-Wisp. He has no Will-O-Wisp immunity either, so I can freely get one off if that's the lead. That will be the plan. So honestly, look for it to be a lead off where he just dies on turn 2. I'm assuming. Fake Out, flinch, Willow, died. If he stays in, that would be the play. I would die to like return or high jump kick at that point easily. But he has no Cleric on his team, and I would burn the biggest threat he's got, easily the biggest threat he's got on his entire team, as I do not fear Azu or Breloom or anything else. Now, if Linoon's on the team, I might want to try to save him. I could go into Celebi and just do stuff like that, because I would like to have this alive just in case that Linoon becomes a problem, but if it's not there, 100%, this thing will almost definitely be a sack. But even if that's the case, and he dies on turn 2, like I'm saying he might, who cares? He's going to burn. He'll get away with burning the Linoon, and that will just really just put me right on the verge of victory, because it would make Lopunny completely worthless. It barely can touch Celebi anyway, let alone if it's burnt. I think burnt return would do like 12% leftovers. But anyway, that's the team. The plan with this one is literally, I honestly just don't fear this team all that much. I don't want to be too cocky and it come back and bite me in the ass. It could, but I don't fear this team too much because his main threats, I can wall them all pretty easily. But the plan with this one is basically annoy the hell out of him with Celebi, do as much chip damage as I can with things like Drapion or Rotom, who can trick a Choice Scarf onto something. I didn't even tell you he's 2v2 special attack, 2v2 speed, timid, Shadow, Willow, Trick, Volt. Okay, moving on. But chip damage, whatever, including with the Celebi, and then if I get a chance, maybe try to sweep with a Swords Dance, Garchomp, or potentially a Dragon Dance, Gyarados, and that is just the plan this week. I'm feeling pretty confident going into this one. Like I said, we got a huge win last week, and hopefully that can carry the Blazikens all the way to the playoffs, and hopefully beyond, of course. And this is just the first step to seeing how much that momentum is going to carry me if I can pick up another win and move on to what would be, if I do win, I'd be 7-1, which would be way out. That'd be awesome. I'd love to be that good, have that good of a record. It would keep me near on top of the league. And that's what we're looking to do, of course. So, as always, guys, thank you for taking the time to watch the video. I do very much appreciate it. The battle, of course, will go live tomorrow. I hope to see you guys there for that. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, or otherwise for the team or my opponent or anything like that, make sure you leave it in the comment section. I respond to basically everything that I feel is, needs a response. If you just say, go Blazikens, I'll probably just not. But, if you ask a question or make a comment about how good the team is or how bad the team is or whatever, I will respond to that. So, again, hope to see you guys in the battle itself, of course. Myself, the bottom of Blazikens, will be taking on the Boston Celebis and their coach, TheChoiceSpecs, and I will see you guys then. Thank you guys for watching the video again, and I will see you all in Week 8. All right? Peace, Domination. See you guys later.